Just specify what type of warnings she was given regarding
I have been very clear from the very beginning that I got into politics in order to get young people interested in politics, to draw more young people into the political process and value their capacity to shape the future of this country. And therefore, since I took over the leadership of the Liberal Party, I've been very clear that I will not tolerate any form of bullying, particularly not against young people, on my watch within the Liberal Party, and that's what it came down to.
What are your thoughts on the end of the health report that this was a problem?
The local Election Readiness Committee, the provincial chairs, the Green Light Committee, a number of people reached out, as they do in various candidacies and various occasions when their issues came up, and flagged concerns about tone and about approach. And this is unfortunately where we had to come to demonstrate that open nominations is something I'm absolutely committed to, and anyone who's engaged in comments or behaviors that are making it more difficult for people to get involved or dissuading people from being involved in giving a robust choice to local Liberals to see who will be their next campaign, their next Liberal candidate, is not holding my promise on open nominations.
The PMO is saying that your words at the charity boxing match, the use of the F word, is an example of your lack of judgment. What do you have to say to that?
Listen, it was fight night at the casino on Saturday night, and I found myself once again in a boxing ring, and I guess I let my emotions run a little hot. But rest assured, I got an awful lot of talking to at home from Sophie, and nothing anyone else can add will be worse than that. But it's interesting that someone who would have had the poor judgment to put Patrick Brazeau or Mike Duffy in the Senate, someone who chose Arthur Porter, Bruce Carson, or even botched a Supreme Court nomination process, would be criticizing anyone else for judgment.
What do you think about today's protest of the ending of the health report?
Canadians believe very strongly in our health system. They understand that it's not just a social program, it's very much part of our economic foundation to allow for competitive businesses and prosperity without the insecurity that so many other countries have that don't have a robust health system. So to have a government that has so stepped back from leadership on the health file, that has been unwilling to engage with provincial leaders, with institutional partners on making sure that our health needs are met going into the 21st century is really dismaying. And I've personally had a number of roundtables and great conversations with health and institutional leaders from across the country to talk about how we're going to continue to build a strong health system that will care for Canadians and keep them healthy longer.
The executive director of the Conservative Party is no longer in that position. What are your comments about that?
I think that's yet another example of this government in general, but Mr. Harper in particular, showing poor judgment in his appointments process, whether it's for senators or executive directors or chiefs of staff. This is just part of a pattern of a government that has shown itself incapable of putting the right people in the right place.
What do you make of Pauline Marois' comments that she can vote the notwithstanding clause to defend the values charter in this court challenge?
I think what's been very, very clear throughout this election in Quebec is that Quebecers want a stronger economy. They don't want divisive politics or a third referendum, and I am confident that that's what we're going to see on April 7th.
Just going back for a second, you're also getting criticism that behavior is not becoming of a future prime minister. What can you say, I guess, to your supporters, to allies of concerns, and your critics who are saying that, you know what, that's not what we should be seeing?
I think that behavior unbecoming of a future or current prime minister is putting forward an elections bill that makes it harder for people to vote, choosing to eliminate the long-form census, demonstrating a proclivity for largesse with government contracts towards friends. This government has demonstrated time and time again, as Canadians know too well, that it is not doing right by its responsibility to serve Canadians Canadians, and I am confident that come 2015, Canadians are going to make a better choice.
Mr. Trudeau,
Last question.
just in hindsight, do you wish you had used another adjective?
If you had seen the scolding that Sophie gave me, you would have wished you used a different adjective as well. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Thank you very much.
Marks the last day for Canada's Health Accord and the start of $36 billion in Conservative cuts to Canada's healthcare system. The Health Council of Canada, the only agency tracking government performance on healthcare, will be shut down today. Less accountability for health spending for veterans, First Nations, and the commitments in the Health Accord. So how will slashing accountability and cutting federal investments improve healthcare for Canadians?
After terrible numbers in the GDP in December, I guess cherry picking is what you get when you're the finance minister for the Conservative Party. The budget should be a place for practical measures to increase job creation, but not with Conservatives. With them, it's a kitchen sink of nasty Conservative schemes they want to keep hidden from Canadians. This government decided to sell out Canadians and their private banking information to the IRS. CRA will hand over personal financial information over 1 million dual citizens to the U.S. government. Whoa. Why did the Conservatives bury this deeply unpopular measure in their monster omnibus budget bill?
Honourable member for Victoria.
For months, Conservatives refused to hear any demands from the provinces on expanding the Canada Pension Plan, saying it had cost us tens of thousands of jobs. But the thing is, Finance Canada's own report on the CPP says, and I quote, "In the long run, expanding the CPP would bring economic benefits. Higher savings," it says, "will lead to higher incomes in the future and higher consumption possibilities for seniors." So, Mr. Speaker, why did the Conservatives mislead Canadians about the positive impacts of expanding the CPP?
The Honourable Minister of State Finance.
Well, Mr. Speaker, again, with the global economic recovery still fragile, we need to be very mindful not to impose costs on workers and also on employers that can threaten the economy.